We hope we're able to share with you exactly how branding the Philippines and the HOM volunteer vacations are a very important part of this whole campaign of trying to get the Philippines recognized for the very best. Next slide, please. Here you see the best of the Philippines. These are images of everything that the Philippines has to offer. We have exciting locales, beaches, warm people, natural resources, a cosmopolitan capital. Unfortunately, next slide please, we also have these images. The rest of the world sees this, and it's unfortunate that sometimes they overshadow the good images. However, a very good branding campaign with the right direction will highlight what's the best in the Philippines in spite of all of these. Next slide, please. So what is branding? Branding is really, a brand is the sum total of perceptions and relationships with stakeholders. And also, it's the medium through which stakeholders interact with each other. What this really means is, nowadays, a brand fosters community. You don't just look at the brand and say, I want to buy that. You look at the brand and say, when I buy this, I am part of a greater community, of globe users, of people who use the same soap, of people who go to the same places for vacation. So there is a big responsibility for a brand of a country to make sure that everybody feels that they are part of something good. Next slide, please. As you can see here, branding is about doing research to understand the perceptions and expectations of your target market. Next slide, please. Branding is about owning a space in the minds of the consumer. So then when they see the Hands on Manila brand, they know right away what it is about. Or the VIP Day brand. So you can see the brand is on all the t-shirts, and it means that you are part of a particular community. Next, please. Branding is about aligning values, communication initiatives, and programs to create impact. And finally, branding is about creating an experience supported by behavior. This is just a little bit of how the process of branding goes. You start with research, then you have your planning stage, activation, monitoring. There is a science to it, and if applied correctly, then you come up with the best results of branding. These are also measures of good positioning. You ask yourself if the brand is relevant. Is it credible? Is it sustainable? And is it well differentiated? Ask yourself about the Hands on Manila brand. Is there anything else out there that's like it? I don't think so. Because everybody feels that this brand is both recognizable and quite relevant in today's community. Next, please. These are examples of country branding. When you see amazing Thailand, the images right away transport you to a different place. This is a very successful branding campaign. And also, in the next slide, we will see Hong Kong. Hong Kong is branded as Asia's world city. It represents itself as one of the most sophisticated destinations in Asia, and basically the branding line that they took really represents that. Why do we need branding? Well, it raises competitive spirit of the Filipinos. It synergizes efforts of all the stakeholders. It adds value to local products and services, and it brings business to the Philippines. That includes tourism, foreign investors, and the like. Now, where are we in our branding efforts in the Philippines? Well, this is the current branding campaign of the Department of Tourism. It's pretty. It has its merits, of course, but it just focuses on one thing in the Philippines. It's marketing the Philippines to be a destination for North Asians, and it tells them, come live in the Philippines, come retire here, and everything is about living your dreams. However, beautifully executed by some of our national artists, this particular brand does not go beyond the Philippines as just a destination. What we feel branding should be comes in the next slide. We feel that the DNA of the Philippine brand is really its people. At the end of the day, when you come to a country, you experience the people and the culture. A good country brand has a positioning strategy, has all these considerations around it. And it goes beyond, as you can see, just tourism. Next, please. The Philippine equation. We have a lot in the Philippines that we have to take into consideration when we're doing the branding exercise for the Philippines. We have to see that the Philippines has a lot of, for instance, in the people, OFWs, nurses, architects, call center agents, young innovation, a friendly population, adaptable, talented, hardworking, resilient. All these other things come also to fore. Next slide, please. There is a way that we can reverse the kawawa image when we're trying to sell the brand of the Philippines. Instead of saying the Philippines is poor, for instance, we can focus on the fact that we are resilient, hardworking, rich in diverse and natural resources. Instead of feeling bad about political instability, we can always point out to the fact that we are resourceful and we are survivors of many of some of the unstable government. Instead of focusing on being third world and underdeveloped, we are a very young nation, and we can see that this is a test bed for new products, and so on. The Philippines now joins the global trend through the hands-on volunteer vacations. More and more people are finding that when they go on vacation, they want to have something that's more than just a holiday, but to contribute to a greater good. In Honduras, for instance, you can go and build schools and teach children English. In Kenya, you can help preserve the sea turtles. In Thailand, you can take care of some of the elephants that need to be rehabilitated. And now with the hands-on volunteer vacations, we join a global trend and also promote the Philippine brand. These are just suggestions on how we should go about branding the Philippines. I won't go into them. If you go to the next slide, please. All we have to remember really, at Eon we've also discovered that the core of the Philippine brand, like we said, is the people, and it's boiled down to the 4 C's. We are collaborative, we are caring, creative, and colorful. And volunteerism in the Philippine brand do have a relationship. You as a volunteer are a natural brand ambassador because volunteerism represents the very best of the Philippines. A volunteer is collaborative because you work with communities to help make them better. Volunteers are caring because you share your time and your talents to make life better for others. All volunteers are creative because you find new ways of making a difference. And now, through hands-on volunteer vacations, volunteers and other people can experience the very colorful Philippines. Thank you very much and congratulations. This is a really wonderful day to be sharing with you.